Well, we wanted to go to college football, and here's why, John. It's the kickoff of the spring transfer portal, and it's a big deal because you and I, just the other day, we were talking about this quarterback from Tennessee. He's getting $2 million a year. He decided he was going to sit out and try to force them to give him $4 million a year. Well, they didn't jump on that at all. Matter of fact, Heupel said, good luck to you. The tight end said, hey, we're here because we want to be here. I mean, there's a lot of different things going on, and a lot of people are stepping into this conversation about what this quarterback was doing. And, you know, he had good numbers, John. Is he a great quarterback? I think he's a very, very good quarterback, and he'll probably do very well. He's got a lot of talent, so let's give him all that. But it's still one of those things where really that's what NIL has come to. Well, now you've got this portal. We'll see where he ends up. We'll see how much money he gets. And there's a lot of other players out there as well, John. That big running back that Cal Berkeley's got, Ott, is a total stud. He was an All-American as a freshman. He put up unbelievable numbers, 1,300 yards, 12 touchdowns his sophomore year, and now he's transferring from Cal because, like everybody else, everybody wants to get a little bit more money, John. As a matter of fact, I don't know if you followed this part of it, but the new GM at Stanford decided to fire the head coach just a few weeks ago, Troy Taylor, so he's gone. Well, there's a lot of players hit that portal as soon as that happened, but they have a linebacker out there, John, who's absolutely spectacular for Stanford. He said, you know what? I'm out. And you know where he went? He went to a school. Now, I'll let you take a guess if you want. There are 5 schools presently in the portal that are the top 5 in terms of the talent levels in which they've gotten out of the portal already. This kid went to the number 1. You know who it is off the top of your head? You want to take a guess at who's leading in the portal of what they've signed already, which started basically today?
I'd say Georgia, Ohio State, and Oregon would be tops.
I probably would have done the same.
Maybe Texas too, Texas.
I probably would have done the same on all those because of the money. You and I both know how this whole game works in the portal, right? These guys want more money like that quarterback at Tennessee. Well, the reality is Texas Tech, John, is sitting at number 1, followed by LSU, Ole Miss, Oregon, and then Miami. So Ohio State didn't make it, but Oregon did. But here's the interesting thing about Texas Tech. They have already signed 18 transfers this spring. So gives you a little bit of an idea of where they decided to go and the money that they've been able to put in there for NIL to enhance the opportunity for players to come there. And that's exactly where this linebacker, David Bailey, who is a total stud, John. The kid had 81 pressures, 22.5 tackles for loss, 14.5 sacks in the last 3 years. Pretty nice numbers that he's been putting up. Well, he's going to be putting those numbers up for Texas Tech this year because they've got all the money in the world. But what do you think about this spring portal? And is there anybody else that might surprise you that's in there? Because I'm shocked just like you. I would have said Georgia, Bama, probably, maybe a Florida, or whomever. But to see Texas Tech at the top, not Texas, is amazing, followed by LSU and followed by Ole Miss and followed by – Ole Miss makes a lot of sense. They got a hell of a lot of money, man. They got money to throw at whoever they want.
Well, it kind of shows that kid that was going to Stanford is a smart kid too, though.
Yes.
Because California, at the millions that he might make in his next year, because he might only play 3, as you and I know. Some of these guys leave right away, but he might play through 3 years unless he's just making so much money that he has to stay for his 4th. But he's going to give up about 50%, 51% in Cal.
Yep.
And some of that's federal, of course. Some of it's state, and Cal is a high-tax state. On the other hand, Florida, like you said, with Miami, and Texas Tech in Texas, really low tax. In fact, 0. So, if he gets a $2 million deal, Pete, the $160,000 that he saves in California state tax, plus some of the millionaire tax as well, could push it up to close to $200,000. He could buy a nice, car.
Yeah.
Or put a down payment on a jet, just with the savings from that. So I don't know that Texas Tech is quite the same environment as Stanford, or the same prestige to the degree, but I don't think he was thinking about staying for the degree in any case, Pete. So I think he's a pretty smart kid to, make an extra 200 moving to Texas.
This sure does. And I hadn't even thought about that, John, even though, you and I have talked about California and taxes and so forth. And it's not just California, it's Minnesota, it's New York, whatever, where you've got higher taxes versus either very low or zero state taxes. That is a factor that I think these players probably are thinking about. I hope that they are and understand it. But, it's just amazing. I mean, this portal and the NIL money and all of this has certainly changed college sports. Let's go to the NHL.
By the way, Pete, real quick, Nico at the quarterback at Tennessee. Tennessee is a zero tax state. So he might find if he goes to, for instance, a state that has 5 to 8% or whatever tax, maybe a millionaire's tax on top of it, that he might not be making quite as much as he thinks. If he can get anywhere towards 4, above 3, or above 2 that they were paying him, I get it. He's still making a lot more money, but I think he'll be surprised how much the taxes are.
Yeah, I think you're right. John, how about we just finish up with the NHL? And I'm just going to say, Marc-Andre Fleury, you were a goalie once in your life. And John was a damn good goalie. He understood the game of hockey. I played a little bit of hockey until I got to high school, and I went ta-ta. I went to basketball. But this guy, John, he's 40 years old. He was the number 1 pick in the draft back in 2003. Marc-Andre Fleury is considered one of the top 10 goalies of all time. And certainly by a lot of people, some people slide him up, maybe it's even higher than top 10. Maybe he's a top 5 or something like that, because he's had an incredible career. People, they love him, his former teammates and so forth. And I think even the adversaries, a lot of those guys just have all the respect for this guy because it was a craft that he created back there between the pipes. An amazing guy, spent a big portion of his career with the Pittsburgh Penguins. Pretty cool. He's got a great family. And you know what? It might have been his final start, or in hockey. But we're talking about Aaron and how they compare to some of the people of the past. Well, this is the guy now. Career. This is where it's going to end. And unfortunately, unless something wild, this is going to end pretty quick, because unfortunately it has done that for a lot of years. But this guy has been a remarkable goalie for his entire career and has really helped out the Minnesota Wild, and that's where he's going to be retiring from. But pretty exciting, isn't it, John, to see a guy that's had this many years in the NHL?
Yeah, and Ovechkin said just that too, Pete, and a whole bunch of others. But I did see a video of Ovechkin. Of course, one of the greats to play as well, just broke Gretzky's record, I believe. But he had his whole team wait because they were all heading into the locker room after the game, and he said, "Stop, we got to go shake his hand." That's one of the best that's ever played, and that was a nice tribute.
Yeah, that's the way it should be, man. I mean, it's when it's all said and done, and you and I both played linebacker, and you know what, talked a lot of crap throughout the game, but as soon as it's over, you know what, those guys are your buddies. They really are. But during a game, you want to take their head off. I mean, that's just the way it is. That's what football's all about. But you know what, you always have respect, and whether it's a guy like a Walter Payton or a Barry Sanders or whomever, you always want to have respect for what a lot of these players have been able to accomplish in their careers, for sure.